Howdy folks. Today we're going to be tackling a question that I get asked a lot, and that's, I'm new to hiking. I'd love to start, but I don't know where to begin. Well, rest assured, we've all been there before. That feeling of not knowing where to start can be pretty overwhelming, but we're going to break down some of the basics for you today and help you get into hiking if it's your first time or your first time in a long time. Rest assured, you got this. So first things first, you're going to want to gear up, but don't overthink it. It's way too easy to spend a lot of money on some fancy high-end backpacking equipment, and the reality is you don't need most of that stuff when you're first starting out. All you really need is a good pair of shoes, a bag to toss some stuff in, a few emergency items, and you're good to go. Next, you're going to want to look for a beginner hiking trail. A beginner trail is going to be a short out and back or loop trail, relatively flat terrain, and a well-groomed, well-maintained trail. Don't overdo it on your first time out. A good hike when you're first starting should be between 1 and 2 miles until you start to understand what your fitness level is and your confidence level is. Now, if you're not sure where to find a good backpacking trail, there are some options to help you on that as well. Most city and state parks are actually geared specifically for beginner hiking or family-friendly trails. And they are a wonderful spot to start when you're first getting into hiking. Not only are the trails well maintained and groomed, but there's also restroom facilities throughout the parks. Hey, just a quick but important interruption. Did you know that right now, 93% of you who are watching this video are not actually subscribed to the channel? I do really appreciate you watching the video, but to help the channel grow, I hope you'd consider hitting that subscribe button. All right, that's the end of the interruption. Back to the video. Thank you so much. If you're still not sure where to start to find your first hiking trail, maybe you aren't familiar with your city parks or state parks, well, there are some fantastic apps out there that'll help you along that way as well. And you don't need to pay for any of these services. I highly recommend downloading some of the free trial versions of All Trails, Onyx Backcountry, or even Google Maps for that matter. All have amazing resources out there. You can help find local trail systems and get step-by-step navigation along those trails and look at different reviews from past hikers. But I will give you a cautionary note on hiking apps. They tend to misevaluate the true difficulty of a trail. Remember, apps lie. Always plan and assume that whatever the difficulty rating is on the trail, it might be just a little bit harder than that. So give yourself a little bit more time and stick to the easy or moderate trails when you're first starting. Start small and gain gradually. You don't need to conquer a mountain on your first hike. Start with an easy out and back hike that's going to take maybe 1 to 2 hours. As you gain fitness and confidence, you can add miles and hours to your backpacking and hiking trips. If you're concerned with hiking alone, then bring a buddy or two. It can be a lot of fun to hike in a group, and it is safer. But don't be afraid of going out there on a solo adventure either. If you can get past those first-time jitters, there's something pretty amazing and rewarding about a solo hike. Now, I do want to emphasize the critical importance of safety first. No matter how long or how short your hike, you do want to make sure you have some basic essentials with you at all times. First and foremost is a first aid kit. You always want to have a first aid kit in your pack, even if it's just an afternoon at the park. Navigation is another key item you should have. A compass and a map are amazing. If you're not feeling like you need a compass and a map yet, then at least download a map on your cell phone. That way, if you lose cell signal, you'll still have the map saved. Then, of course, you want to make sure you have extra layers. Yes, dress in layers so you can take them on and off as the weather conditions change, but having a raincoat and a backup shirt is a wonderful option because you never know what kind of conditions you're going to get into. On the conditions, I would also mention a headlamp is important. Either a headlamp or a flashlight, but something to navigate by should you get lost and it gets too late and you find yourself caught in the dark. Having some food items And water is also a great backup, not only to keep you replenished on the hike, but if you end up running into another hiker who is out of supplies, you can share some goods on the trail. Then as a weather protection, it seems a little silly, but I always carry a hat or a beanie with me at all times. I'm not a big fan of sunblocks and lotions and creams, so I try and use alternatives to protect me from the elements. Most importantly, have fun. Hiking is about connecting with nature and enjoying the outdoors. Don't get too caught up with the gear or the pace. Soak in the scenery, breathe in the fresh air, and appreciate the beauty around you. And there you have it, folks. Getting started with hiking really isn't that complicated. It just takes a few basic steps and a little attention to detail. Now, if you're looking for more specific information on the 10 essential safety items that you should always have with you, this will be your next watch. So until next time, folks, I hope to see you out there on the trail soon. Let's go for a walk.